Everyone else ready? Yeah. Okay. We're going to call the meeting to order. March 12th. Sorry we're starting a little bit late. Thank you everyone for coming to the March meeting of the Montville Neighborhood Association. It's great to have everyone here. We're just going to open up first with just some ground rules. Please, everybody, be respectful. Please honor everyone else's opinion and give people just basic respect. Please don't speak over people. Please don't try to interrupt. And generally don't try to target comments at other audience members, but speak to the issue at hand. And hopefully we can get through this meeting productively. So we'll just go around, just quick introductions. If you just want to say who you are, where you're from in the neighborhood, or what might have brought you out for the neighborhood meeting tonight. We'll just try to go around and be pretty brief since we're already a little bit behind. I'm David Lynn. I live over by 81st and Holiday. I'm the chair of the Neighborhood Association, and I work on the outreach committee.
I'm John Runner. I am Public Safety Chair. I work on the Public Safety Committee, and I live on 81st and Oregon.
Jonathan Ogden. I'm at large, but I guess I'm supposed to be doing parks. I should probably get on that. It's nice to see you all tonight.
I'm Brian Rose Schreiber. I'm acting secretary as of right now, but we'll probably talk more about Billy.
I'm Amanda Rhodes. I'm the vice chair and the land use and transportation chair, and I live at 80th and Yamna.
I'm Brad. I live on 87th, and I'm kind of shadowing the safety issues.
Great. If we just want to go around over here.
I'm Jonna, and I live at 78th and Gleason, and I also serve at the St. Peter and Paul Episcopal Church on 87th.
My name is Takatoshi Muneno. I'm a visitor from Japan.
I'm Lou Scholl, a former board member, and I live on 91st and Hoyt.
David?
I'm David. I live at 81st and Burnside. I'm here listed as Takatoshi and South Prior Road.
I'm sorry, could you all speak up just a little bit? I'm trying to write
My
down.
name is David. I'm at 81st and Burnside. I'm here to listen to our guest, Takatoshi, as well as Prior Roads.
My name is Patrick. I live on 87th and Gleason.
My name's Robin. I live at 92nd and Salmon.
Josh, I live at 75th and Devon. Consider Robert Eden here from my recent.
I'm Mark. I live east of 82nd and Pacific.
I'm Evelyn. I live on 92nd and Gleason. Amanda, 87th and Gleason. Sarah, 92nd and Clay.
Becca, 93rd and Burnside.
Kelly, I don't live in the neighborhood. I work at South and Southwood.
I serve with Office of Neighborhood Involvement.
April, I live at 82nd and Pine.
I'm Elena, and I work on 76th and Start.
I'm Justin. I live on 76th and Start and operate a business there as well.
Michael Sunleitner, past board chair and vice chair over the past 3 years, but rotated off. And currently active with 82nd Avenue Improvement Coalition, as well as serving as the elected trustee for this area, former community college.
Me. I'm Tom. I live at 80th and Gleason.
And I'm Pat, I live at 80th and Gleason.
I'm Gar. I live at 80th and Everett.
I'm Kate. I live at 92nd and Hawthorne.
Hi, Andrew Wilkins. I live at 81st and Oregon, and I record the meetings for villageportland.com.
Anthony and Cassandra, guests.
Ruth, 87th and Start.
Great. I think we had a gentleman come in the back. Sir, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Chris Lansfield. I live on 62nd Main.
I realized I omitted my ad by cross street. Sorry about that. It's 81st and Multnomah.
Great. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for coming out. I know it's such a beautiful day outside. Not sure why we would want to be inside, but we have to. So, After, if there's no discussion, I'll take a motion to approve the agenda for the regular meeting.
I move that we approve the agenda.
And any questions or discussion? All in favor? Feel free, anyone, to vote on the general membership stuff. So first, we have a wonderful special guest that comes from us from Shinga University in Japan, Mr. Takatoshi Munine. Welcome.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone.
Excuse me, could you stand up here so I could hear you a little bit?
Okay. Thank you so much for letting me attend the meeting of Montabile Neighborhood Association. I'm not good at English, so please allow me read this paper. The first time I came to Portland was in 2014, 4 years ago. Portland is one of the most popular cities for Japanese. In recent years, especially, Portland is counted as one of the most livable cities. I think, however, little visitors know why it is so livable. There are so many good locations, so many small shops which sells goods we could get in other cities, and public transportation bound for every direction. They are really attractive. However, I guess the most attractive quality of Portland is civic temperament to engage in public matters and institutions to encourage civic engagement. Through 2 visits, I have seen neighbors attend membership meetings of neighborhood associations. The number of participants are not always large. In many cases, participants are small parts of a whole number of neighbors. However, they voluntarily involve themselves in what's going on in their neighborhoods. What's going on maybe, for example, matters concerning air toxic emitted from small factories adjoining the elementary school in neighborhood. Neighbors gathering at the membership meeting may discuss how they measure toxic density, how they get grants to buy facilities to measure pollution, or how they persuade factory to stop emitting. There may be not only regular participants, but also those who attend neighborhood meetings first time in their lives. They may enjoy hearing others' voices and exchanging ideas on how they persuade City Hall to cooperate with them. The board could not get an unanimous conclusion in one meeting, and they could seem to get tired with long discussion. However, they would enjoy participating. Membership meetings are not political engagements such as election campaign, running for office, or voting. We periodically or routinely participate in political engagement, such as voting. On the other hand, it is not always easy to engage in public matters going on in our neighborhoods. However, matters concerning our neighborhoods are real public affairs. which we could grapple with and make better. I think that neighborhood associations, district coalitions, ONI, and Portland way of neighborhood involvement are worthy of serious consideration. That's why I'd like to learn how they work. Thank you.
Thank you. So what city are you from in Japan? What city are you from in Japan?
Shiga, Old City.
Old?
Yeah, Old City, adjoining Kyoto City.
Kyoto?
Yeah.
Ah.
Do you know Kyoto? Famous city. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, second item on the agenda, a request to support a grant proposal for organizing LGBTQ community defense. Right?
Yeah, Andrew, would it be easier for me to stand here or to move up there? And also for Actioner, where would it be easier for me to be?
I can hear you fine from there.
I'm happy. It's fine. Thank you for asking. Yeah.
No, it's okay. So this is more of an introduction to a topic, and the support that I'm looking for isn't necessarily support from the board, it's support from the neighborhood. I'm not sure what that support should look like yet, and that's kind of how I wanted to start this conversation. So I wanted to tell you about an organization that I founded and helped run here in the neighborhood called Wampus. It started up after the...
I'm sorry, called what?
Called Wampus, W-A-M-P-U-S. It's named after one of the Harry Potter fictional animals of the North American schools. Yeah, so we started this group last year to try to figure out ways that LGBTQ people in our neighborhood can feel more secure and safe and really deal with that in a tangible way. As an extension of that, one of the pieces that we brought up and why I wanted to bring it here is we made a grant proposal to solve these uplifts small grants things, which we were not accepted for. So we got onto the agenda here to talk about it, to give the exact info, because I wanted to be clear about that. So if you were interested in what that was, I do have copies of that. But that being said, I still want to go forward with this project, and Wampus is still planning on going forward with this project in the neighborhood. So to give you a brief outline of what we're planning, one of the things that really brings a community together is especially when you have marginalized groups or groups that are a minority inside of that community, is bringing them to the surface and letting people meet, letting people talk, getting those people to talk to the small business owners. The small business owners know how to best treat those people and make sure everyone can get along. And so towards that end, after looking at multiple different groups who are working on similar issues across the country and various things as far as immigrant rights go and many other topics, we decided that a good first step would be to have some positive uplift times for our community to come together that were centered around LGBTQ issues, and that perhaps those, if they're successful, we can learn from those. And then other identity groups that are out there, or groups that are organized around anything that they want, could also organize based on that same model, and we can pass that along. So the scope of our project at this point is we have the public performance rights to a LGBTQ documentary that's award-winning. We want to do some free showings of that in the neighborhood and maybe have some panel discussions. And then also some block parties that just brings everyone from the neighborhood together and gets everyone talking, maybe some literature from there, and lets people really show that off to the neighborhood. And that's really what the plan is right now. I would love to hear ideas from the neighborhood and how neighbors think that maybe we can do that better or differently. And also how we might be able to fund that in the future, because now we're starting to move into the phase where we're going to have to figure that out because the grant didn't work out. So we're falling back on our backup plan, but we would love input from the community as well. And I'd love to answer any questions that anyone has, so I can tell you more about it.
I don't know what the agenda is, but I'm wondering, a high visibility action that we have is the 82nd Avenue Parade. And I don't know what plans, if any, the neighborhood association has to be present, but it sure would be nice to have extreme diversity visibly present if we had an entry in that parade.
Yeah, I made an initial inquiry. I forget what the name of the group is that oversees it. I'm trying to remember, but I reached out to them and they never got back, so I need to follow up on that. So
I can give you that information.
that'd be wonderful. Thank you.
And I organized it last year, and it was canceled. But yes, good.
Any other questions I can answer?
How would we get involved after this meeting? How would we reach out to you?
Yeah, if you're interested in helping out. WAMPUS, the way that it's organized is we organized it as an LLC, so it's a AM business, because the idea of it is that if we're bringing in LGBTQ people to try to bring other LGBTQ people and lift them up, we don't necessarily want them to burn out on that. So these projects would be free and they're non-profit driven, but for these specific projects, we'll definitely have committees that be open for the wider community, and we kind of have to figure out and define exactly how those would come into play and how people want to be involved in it. But yeah, I would love to.
Yeah, we'd be absolutely interested. And to be clear, it's not like an MNA sponsor or anything, it's just more
Not yet.
Community outreach.
Yeah, I brought it up at the last meeting, but a lot of the membership had left, so I asked instead to talk about it today because I feel like it's more, I want to hear from members, and if members feel like the board really needs to vote on something, then we do have time later on tonight where we could do that, but I would really love to hear what people's thoughts are.
You mentioned the documentary. Are you thinking about like academy or like outdoor theater or just like different space?
Our plan was, because the public performance rights are sold in a lot of 3, that we would do one larger one in a theater and then maybe some outdoor ones or a small coffee shop showings, or possibly contacting PCC or someone else in the neighborhood to do something in like a classroom or something. Yes?
Do you have any plans to update your website though? Because right now it just looks like a bunch of angry people who want to arm themselves, honestly. There isn't a whole lot of information on there about the good things that you want to do and promote with this, but the website itself just looks like angry people with guns and bats.
You got the Facebook page?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, our Facebook page does have that. We originally organized, like I said, around people feeling unsafe after the April march that happened in Montebello Park after a lot of people were
feel unsafe though, seeing that.
Well, the purpose of our group is to make transgender and queer people safe, and
So what do I have to technique?
that's up to you. Our organization isn't.
What if I'm mislabeled by queers and transgenders? What if I'm mislabeled as somebody that you need to fear and I'm not?
Then I hope that you find some outputs for that. That's not the focus of what our organization is.
Okay.
But like I said, we hope that we can put together a roadmap so that other groups could put on similar events and we can have similar outputs.
I just feel like as a neighborhood association putting that together, although you've been denied now for your grant, should protect the whole neighborhood and not just a part of it?
It's not from the neighborhood association?
Right.
She just said that.
I know,
It's
you
not
guys were
associated
gonna
with
vote
that.
on.
I don't think
Now
there's a
you don't need
proposal.
to.
There is
There's
no
not a
proposal
on the
for a
table at
vote.
the
There's
moment.
no proposal for a vote at the moment.
There was.
No, there wasn't.
No.
I'm sorry.
There was no
Do you
proposal.
want to take any more questions?
Yeah, just to clarify, there's been no votes on this, and the wording of the agenda item is my fault. Like I said, I'm looking for more broad support. I'm not necessarily looking for the MNA to vote on anything unless membership has something that they specifically think, wow, we really want the MNA to vote on this, then I would be happy to hear that, but that's not necessarily what I'm
I
looking for.
just wanted to be all inclusive.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Thanks for bringing it forward.
Okay.
Okay.
You got one more?
The next, sorry.
I just wanted to also let you know that there's other ways that Southeast Upland would want to collaborate, so.
Yes, and Southeast Uplift did tell us that, and we're excited about that. But yeah, just to be open with everyone, start some questions about that. And like I said, if you're interested in the proposal we did make, I have copies of it, so if you want to see the whole thing and what we're up to with that, you're welcome to them.
Excellent. The next part on our agenda, I have met with a wonderful individual who has some interest in history like I do. I am very interested in local history, and we met and we talked about a proposal. And Ms. Sanders, would you like to discuss what we came up with? Sure. Or what she came up with, and I support her.
I'm Pat Sanders, and as I mentioned earlier, I live on 80th Avenue, close to Gleason. And what I want to talk about is various ideas involving Montebello history. Can you hear me at the back?
Yes.
Oh, good. They must have good acoustics in here. Right? Okay. So my background is as an art historian, and I have done research and writing and teaching in the art history field, and that involves doing history. Now I'm retired from doing that, and I got interested in family history, and as it happens, My grandparents came in 1926 to not very far from here, about maybe half a mile away on 68th Avenue. And my grandmother used to come down to Stark Street to do her grocery shopping. So since we moved into the neighborhood, I became very curious about this. I've become very interested in local history and family history. So I heard recently about Jefferson High School and the neighborhood around that having a historian, and they were getting involved in a renaming project for Jefferson High School. Now, that sounded really interesting, and that maybe it's a way I could contribute to the Montevilla Neighborhood Association. So I talked to David, and I talked about some ideas I had thought of, and he threw out some other ones. So what we talked about were maybe some little articles that I could write up for the newsletter about Montevilla history. Possibly putting together, what else was I thinking? Well, David thought maybe that could lead to something like a little booklet. So you've got a little history book about Montevilla history. And also, I was thinking about something that I did when we lived briefly in Salt Lake City. We had a storytelling event, and we invited people who had lived in the Sugar House neighborhood to come together and tell their stories. And it was really an exciting event. And I would like to put on something like that here, and I think David was thinking, well, maybe this could lead to an oral history project. So that's a lot of stuff, and I know I could not do all of that myself, but what I'm asking here tonight is if you have other ideas that you think would be interesting in order to tell people more about Montevilla history, or if you'd like to be involved in some way. So that's what I'm here to pitch. I thought I'd throw in a little tidbits because I'm just kind of plunging in here lately and finding out a little bit about Montevilla history. And one of the things that I thought was kind of interesting was Montevilla's entry in the 1910 Rose Parade was a cowboy band who rode on horseback, and there's 16 of them, and they played cowboy songs of some sort. And I'd never heard of a cowboy band before, but we had one here. I don't know if they performed beyond that, but that's the kind of thing that might come up. You might also like to know what some of the street names were that you're familiar with today. Does anybody know what Stark Street used to be called?
Baseline.
Yes, I knew someone would know it. And do you know why? Yes, tell us. Go ahead.
I learned this from a Facebook posting, and I'd like you to hook up with those postings because they have visual.
Yeah.
I'm a visual person.
Yeah.
Apparently, back in 1881, if I believe, the surveyors got off into the
1851.
Well, 51. I think the survey actually the point of the baseline wasn't it set up in 1881?
1851.
Well,
Sorry. I only know a little bit now, but I started at the beginning.
The flag in the West Hills
Yes.
was established north, south,
That's
east,
right.
west,
I think they put the plaque up maybe in 89.
a baseline to basically divide, for surveying purposes,
Right.
the entire Oregon territory.
Right,
And
including Washington.
The east-west baseline included what is now Stark Street.
Right.
Cool stuff.
And we have a baseline marker right here. Have you seen that?
I haven't seen it, but I saw pictures of it.
Yeah.
Thanks to Facebook posting. So I really do hope that you connect with some folks who are already doing some of this.
I would like to do that. Yes. Yes.
A project you might be interested in is last year Southeast Upland funded a mural on 30th and Belmont. That's a history mural of that area, and then they created a website for it, which has interactive graphics. So when you click on an image in the mural, it pops up like an image, historical image and background around it. It's pretty easy app to use as well.
So that could be another historical project for here.
And it's called Keep on the Sunny Side.
It's called what?
Keep on the Sunny Side, mural by Portland Street Art Alliance.
Great, thank you. Yes?
I was actually talking with some friends a while back about writing a story with the title, The Fake History of Montevilla. And like a long, detailed, and entirely fake history And I thought that would be fun. Just like,
That makes a historian very nervous. Well, coming over here, my husband and I were talking about, well, maybe we could have historical markers on buildings, you know, some of the old buildings here, like when they were built and what they were originally, and maybe people might even like to have something on their home saying the date that it was built, because a lot of these go back quite a long ways, back to the 1890s.
How old does something have to be history?
Probably not
well,
that
that's
old.
history.
I would say, you know, everything, you know, all the changes and some more recent changes are going to be really significant to us, right?
50 years
So-
is what the National Park Service looks at,
For what?
for landmarks or historical.
Yes?
One thing that occurs to me that might actually be of interest to our Japanese friend here, that's not known a whole lot anymore, is the fact that prior to World War II, before we sent all the Japanese folks out to internment camps, Montevilla had a fairly substantial population of Japanese American farmers. And their land was basically taken away from them, and they never really came back after the war.
Right.
Yeah, to your point, there's a bipartisan cafe has a story on their blog about one of the families that is, I think, significant to Montevilla and how their land was taken away from them during that time.
Yeah, I come across several stories published by Bipartisan, so I think there's someone I should get together with too and see what that's all about. Because they seem to be really interested in that. And that is an interesting old building too.
I believe they already have an ongoing meeting night where they just talk about that stuff.
Ah.
Yeah. Just saying.
Yeah, that would be good to know about. See, I'm just starting out. I had an idea, so now I'm trying to find out, you know, what's been done, who's doing it, and how can we plug in. Yeah.
I also want to mention that I have some photos here that I can show them to you
Okay.
after you're done here.
Good.
Of various old scenes in Montevilla, 82nd Avenue, an old parade, and Stark Street, and stores, and markets.
Good. Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And I believe we'll be organizing that through the outreach committee so far, until further notice. So keep an eye out for announcements for the outreach committee. Look on that. Great. That is all the presentations. Now just quick updates from officers and committee chairs. I'll just do a quick recap of what we've done since the last meeting, monthly meeting. We had a few meetings in the mid-February that were just emergency meetings to deal with legal matters. On, I forget which day, a few weeks ago, we did a 80-second cleanup with Brian Staffkey, who organized the whole thing. It's a wonderful cleanup from 82nd Max Stop down 82nd. The volunteers made it to about Burnside and then turned back because of time constraints. But that was a fun day. Nice, beautiful weather on that day, luckily. There was a city council forum at the Bipartisan Cafe, hosted by the Main Street Alliance, which is kind of a group of businesses who get together to think that lobbying should be not just about lobbying for your own personal profit and maximizing that, and that there's other useful things that we can engage on in the community. And that was very nice. It was Commissioner number 3, so it had several candidates. Look that up. I can't, if I try to quote them all or name them all now on this one. There was another legislative wrap-up just this last weekend over at PCC, and that had the state representative for everybody who's north of, or south of Gleason. Your state representative is Alyssa Kenny Geyer, and also your state senator is Michael Dembro. And they gave just kind of a brief wrap-up of what they were working on, how it went, how some things went bad. And they will actually be doing a follow-up one along with the representative for everyone who's north of Gleason, which is Barbara Smith Warner. And that will be on April 5th at the same location at PCC Southeast. We're looking to have an outreach committee meeting. I think we're looking on Sundays, maybe the 25th, unless it gets pushed up. I know one of our board members has been working very hard on the homeless forum. I think we might have a location squared away. And did you want to speak more to that?
Well, Oliver sent me a statement to read if we're at that point, sorry.
Well, there's the
oh, that's probably later then, yeah.
motion to support later on. Did you want to tell any more details that might be fleshed out?
Yeah, there was an announcement that they had for it. Hold on a second. Sorry. It was just moreover about the location and
I think the tentative location so far is IRCO, which is the Immigrant Refugee Community Organizing. That's just on the other side of our border, on the other side of 205, but it's 102nd in Gleason, or 103rd in Gleason. And
I think it's this side of 102nd, isn't it?
No.
No.
Oh, so,
No, it's past Plaid Pantry and the donut shop.
okay.
Okay.
I'll take your word for
And they
it.
just have a great space, so, and we're anticipating a large crowd, so we got a big space. So look for more of that, and we'll also be asking for volunteers once we get that a little more squared away. So,
David, do you want the exact location of that?
103rd and Gleason?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Stand With Refugees and Immigrants event, did you mention that?
No, I didn't. Please, if we have some time at the event, I'd love for you to pitch that. Yeah, and at the outreach, we're still working on the newsletter and getting involved with events, which will bring us to later on, the 82nd Avenue Parade of Roses, which is coming up quickly. Then we got the street fair quick, and cleanups and block parties, and before we know it, summer will be over. So please look out for that, and please look to get involved any way you can. Did you want to say something about the Lumio? You can do it somewhat brief.
So it's a matter of outreach, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we went live with the platform we discussed back in December. That's kind of an online form to replace the Facebook group. Some people probably already have gotten that email and see all the stuff coming in, but it's going to be sent out through all the emails that we have on file. I want to make sure that everybody who attends the meetings gets signed up if they want. But if you wanted to join it right now, you could. If you wanted to go to montevillapdx.lumio.org, that's our URL for all of the discussions there.
There's also a link on our webpage.
There's also a link on the webpage now. And actually, I don't know if you're on the internet right now, but you can show it real quick if you just want to bring that page up.
I don't think you can.
No? Okay. I could probably plug it in, but I don't know if it's worth it. If you want to bring it up on your phone, you can. You can read it all there.
Well, just what it is.
MontevillePDX.org. She didn't type it in.
Oh, the web address is montevillapdx.lumio.org. And it's an online discussion platform that replaces the Facebook group. It gives you some voting tools. There's some questions up there. In fact, I just added the one about taking in submissions for the oral history project. So if you want to add anything to that, you can go find that thread and put it right in there. And that way it keeps everybody in the loop about what discussions are going on and keeps a log of it. It's really nice. I like it.
So can anybody who's registered just post, is it like an open forum?
It is an open forum, but we're trying well, it hasn't been approved yet to use as a formal discussion platform, but I was trying to regulate the membership list to be the authenticated users list, so I wasn't taking any outside join requests unless I verified them. But it is an open public-facing forum, so there's a join button on there, but it is you're able to use a different username if you don't want to show your public name, but all the files are public, all the threads are public. So it's viewable from anywhere. Just a regular.
I already got the invitation, I just haven't signed up yet.
Oh, that's fair.
And this is a test. This is an informal test that we're trying out. This is something Jonathan has been pitching, and we wanted to try it out because we're also always looking for ways for people to be more engaged. I personally maybe value human contact and interaction a little bit more than this might be conducive for, but
That's not necessarily the case, it's for both, because what it lets you do is make all the hard decisions ahead of time, and so you can come in with all that stuff done. That's the real advantage there, is you can see the working process if we created one for the MNA board and other stuff just to keep track of. Like, you can see all the votes that were logged, you can see all that. If we just spent 10 minutes every meeting to ratify those things, it can improve process a lot. So that's where I see the advantage coming in. It actually puts in more face-to-face time for fun stuff. Like, I'd rather have block parties than meetings, just saying.
okay. So that was just part of the outreach. I will just move on. John, would you like to talk about public safety?
Okay, yeah, I'll start off with last month we had our public safety meeting at 80th and Gleason, and we talked about neighborhood watches. 2 people signed up, we had 3 people sign up for neighborhood watches, 2 different types, and that's going pretty well. If you are interested in setting up a neighborhood watch, please go ahead, contact me, and we can get that going. I'm just facilitating. Once I get your email and who you want to have a neighborhood watch with, organize, help you facilitate that and set it up, and you can organize one on your block. Also, this month there was there's livability plans that have been going on in other neighborhoods around the city, and for more police presence, ATV patrols, things like that. So I went to a training that the Portland Police had at one of their precinct buildings on Saturday, and learned more about that. They're having a pilot program with just right now Brentwood, Darlington, Gateway, Lenson, Park, Rose. Right now it's in its pilot program. They're not looking to expand it right now at this second. They want to see what's going to happen and then see what the results are and then expand upon it. If people are interested in that, I've got more information. I can talk to you and you can go from there. If you are interested in setting anything up or getting more organizations on board with safety, please contact me. I'm more than willing to sit down and talk to you or anyone else who's interested and get something going. Also, I will be having a safety committee meeting on the 20th, which is Tuesday, probably around 6:30, 6 o'clock. So if you're interested, I will be posting that soon. Anyone have any questions?
At the Thai restaurant again?
Maybe, maybe. Find out.
You said people signed up for 2 different types?
Yes.
What were the 2 different types?
There's the anti-racist neighborhood watch, and then there's the regular Oni neighborhood watch. So I present the information, I just give it to people objectively, and I go through each one, and then they decide. So it's their choice.
I'm guessing the Oni one works with cops.
Well, it is what it is. It's actually whatever the people decide that they want to organize with. They don't have to. Nobody's forcing them to. So it could be their own block, and that's it. There's just different approaches for each one. So.
Great.
Oh, you have a question?
Your meeting on the 20th, do you have a location for that?
I'll be posting it soon.
Okay.
I'll be posting it, making sure it goes up on the Montevilla PDX website. I'll be posting it on Facebook, and you can mail that out to post it through emails. Yeah. So I'll be making sure it goes out far and wide. If you do not hear about it, please email me. My contact is up on the Montevilla website. It's john.rotter@montevillapdx.org. But it's up there if you want to get a hold of me.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah.
Rotter.
Yeah. ROTTER. Yeah. You had a question?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I just have a question. Is there already plan for having a monthly calendar be mailed physically? I mean, I have access to the internet, but really I get so many emails and everything else going on that it's not always, I want to be a part of everything that's going on. Is there a plan to have paper things sent to maybe people who aren't technology savvy?
Yeah, I mean, I can make an effort to push for that.
I mean, not just you specifically, just all the things that are going on that are known in time, obviously, and printed, like, things that pop up, obviously, I don't expect to be mailed something the day before, but just in general. Like the events calendar that is on LFPDX.org that I just recently realized was there. Is there any plans in the future of like just mailing that to people that are signed up? Can they not be getting electronic notices or?
That depends on the capacity of the outreach committee and how many volunteers we have for it.
Take
I mean, we
that
would
back.
definitely love to do everything and do everything
I just
exactly
know
the
when
way
I get a
people,
bill in
so,
the mail, like if it's in my face, then it goes in my purse and I take care of it. If I
Yeah.
get a notice, I'm like,
yeah, I'm definitely a supporter of physical things too.
Yeah.
That's why I'm so interested in getting the newsletter going too, because I'd like to get that going to the point where it's effective in letting people know about events.
Okay.
I'm also going to be going around and flyering a little bit, so maybe you'll see flyer setups some places for, just for like, at least for safety meetings and things like that, so I can hit.
If there's a little tabby I can rip off.
Yeah, something like that, yeah, so that, less, electronic means to contact people and get them involved, so that's something I could do.
Trees.
Print. Oh, yeah, mailing I know it's expensive, but yeah, put it on it.
Like a monthly postcard that summarizes everything coming up or something, that would be potentially doable.
Okay, I'll do a quick financial report, since our treasurer's not here at the moment.
Quick check,
Checking. Huh? Treasurer.
Our treasurer resigned.
Okay. Okay, I guess we'll get to that. Well, our treasurer resigned, so I will give the financial report. And checking, $3,016.85, savings $27.06.54.
Sorry, could you go through this really slowly?
No, sure. Checking, $3,016.85. Savings, $2,706.54.
Sorry, I didn't get the second one.
I'm sorry.
It's up there. 27065.
And are there any other committee updates?
Yes.
Amanda, go for it.
Man. So we have gotten into a good regular land use meeting. We meet on the fourth Wednesdays. That's usually at 6:30, no, actually 7 last time. So this last meeting, we had Marty Stockton from the Bureau of Planning and Sustainability come and talk to us about what their bureau does with long-range planning and all the kind of do a 30,000 foot level summary of what's going on right now and what's coming up. And I did want to pass around, she gave me a copy of the Better Housing by Design project, which they're currently accepting comments for, and then it will later this spring be going to the Planning and Sustainability Commission before it moves on to council. So there's an opportunity for any of us individually to weigh in on this project. We didn't feel like we had enough time to kind of go through it at this point and meet their March 19th deadline. But we encourage anyone who is interested to, you can ask me questions or contact staff who are working on it and give opinions. This project is looking at all multi-dwelling zones in the city and looking at changing the rules for how they redevelop. And it's an interesting project because it's switching currently, I'm going to do like a 2-minute zoning thing. Currently, in single dwelling zones and multi-dwelling zones, you get a certain amount of density or number of living units per thousands of square feet. So a lot of the single dwelling zones are R5 or residential 5,000. You get 1 unit per 5,000 square feet. And that's kind of how it's been done. There's R1, R2, R3. Those are all multi-dwelling zones. And then at higher densities, they're looking more at, well, we don't care how many units you have, but you are limited to a floor area ratio. You're limited to like maybe 3 times the site area is the number of square feet you can have. So they're looking at bulk and massing rather than number of units. They're now proposing to do that for all of the multi-dwelling zones. So, and this actually affects a number of properties in Montevilla. The ones along Washington, along 82nd on either side, there are like a block or 2 of multi-dwelling where maybe you've seen, like on Washington, it's R1, and you've seen some, old houses get torn down and, 8-plexes come up. So there's a couple of volumes of the plan, and then here's a little summary, and if you just want to take a peek at those. So it's, there's a lot in here that I think improves, increases requirements for green spaces, is looking at kind of simplifying setback requirements, so some stuff that's more technical but hard for folks to implement, and lowering some height limits and making sure that there are some steps in height when you're developing next to a single house. But so a lot of these things can be positive as properties redevelop, but also it might be a little surprising to say, like, I'm a block off of 82nd, currently I'm in an R2 zone, so residential 2,000, and currently my property is big enough for 2 units. Well, once this goes through, my property will be big enough for 4,000 square feet, however I want to do that, if I want 500 square foot apartments, if I want, so they're changing things, and it might have end up having an impact on what our neighborhood looks like in a way that's unexpected to folks. Even with the old way, we're seeing bigger developments in places where we aren't expecting them. And those zones have been in place since roughly either 91 or 96, so it's not new, but it's just something, it's something to know about for sure, and if you have opinions, I welcome you to weigh in and check it out more. All of this stuff is online. Again, the project is called Better Housing by Design, and staff is taking public comments until March 19th, and then they'll be going to the Planning and Sustainability Commission, I think maybe April, maybe May. And our committee wants to have a more focused session on talking about this and kind of giving feedback, and that feedback might happen at the Planning and Sustainability Commission, and likely is not going to happen before March 19th. But I'm encouraging folks to check it out, and if you have any comments, staff is open to hearing them now before they kind of put their final draft together. So we talked a little bit about that at our last meeting, and then brainstormed some other things that we want to be working on. In addition to responding to these bigger projects or responding to individual development proposals, we also are interested in kind of seeing what difference we can make in our experience of the neighborhood at the ground level. So we're looking at kind of what Southeast Uplift has encouraged with mural projects and things like that. We're interested in, can we kind of address situations like the tofu place on 82nd, just south of Vestal, is constantly tagged. They're constantly repainting. It's a great big wall, maybe, there are a lot of locations. Robin's done some great research on some other ones that maybe need some work that already are existing but might be refurbished. So those are, so there's kind of more fun stuff like that, and then more wonky stuff like the zoning that we're dealing with. But we're meeting monthly, 4th Wednesdays. Usually it's an hour and a half, and we welcome you all to join us. And then we have if you're interested in the group, you can just get on the list, and then you actually end up getting all of the, so all of the notices that our group is getting right now, like all the liquor license proposals, all the, presumably the land use reviews, though there haven't been too many, those are getting sent just to our land-use at montebellopdx.org, so everyone's finding out about those nice and early, so that's that committee. And I'm sorry to keep talking at you. Olive Alsept Ellis was not able to be here today. She's been sick and she was out at a conference, so she's not able to be here tonight, but she wanted me to read a couple of paragraphs. So I'll do that fairly quickly here. Okay. The last few months have been filled with the grievance process and subsequent lawsuit. I am proud that we have acted according to bylaws and always in good faith.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Just slow down a little bit.
Sure. And do you want me to come a little?
Yeah.
The last few months have been filled with the grievance process and subsequent lawsuit. I am proud that we have acted according to bylaws and always in good faith. However, the weekly meetings were very difficult for me, and I've had to miss today's meeting so that I can hold on to my job. As the board knows, but the membership may not, I just returned from a conference on participatory democracy. The neighborhood associations and the Office of Neighborhood Involvement were founded on the principles of neighborhood democracy, and in my election speech, I told the Montevilla membership about my interest in this field. For those who may not be familiar, participatory democracy is town halls, neighborhood assemblies, and citizen juries. We're lucky in Portland to have healthy democracy, those are capitals, a foundation which provides the pros and cons on the ballot initiatives we vote on, information collected from statistically significant but randomly selected citizens. Democracy does not start nor end with our elected officials alone, but is rather a constant dialogue between institutions, invested interests, and the people themselves. One researcher at the conference said that democracy is actually a spectrum between representation and the direct people's voices, and that participatory democracy brings our current democracy much closer to a direct version. That's where we come in. Neighborhood associations are some of the closest institutions to participation, and after the conference, I want to confirm to the membership my commitment to making involvement more participatory. Within Southeast Uplift, I have joined a committee to rewrite the mission statement which reflects these aspirations of inclusivity. Our process is going along nicely, and we should have a formal proposal by our next meeting. As I stated a few months back, membership is always welcome to reach out to me if you have any suggestions for the mission statement, which can be found on Southeast Uplift's website. Deliberation is nearing the end, so I cannot likely make significant last-minute changes, but I would always appreciate and advocate for your opinions. I hope to put more information about participatory democracy online and available, and I would love to host an informal gathering to talk to neighbors more about this field. Please email me if you have thoughts, would like more information, or would like to meet with neighbors to talk about participatory democracy. My email is olivia@montevillapdx.org. A special thanks to the supportive membership who has understood the difficulties of being a new board member or a new board that has faced particular scrutiny. So that's a message from Olive. Thank you so much for bearing with me on that. I think that's the end of mine.
Great. Do you have anything from the accessibility committee?
My update from the accessibility committee is that the first committee meeting was held on Sunday, and no one showed up, so we're going to try to work on outreach.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
brings us to the end.
forwarded maybe, because so Joshua, if she typed in alcohol and social justice, like I'm reading, you were reading so fast.
Sorry, yeah. Actually,
I'm sorry. Okay, yeah, what did we miss?
Oh, is it, do we have a lookup, or?
The way it read up there was not.
On the, was it about the accessibility committee?
No, the caption
No.
was just an inaccuracy.
We had alcohol and social justice at one point. That's not what you said.
Not that that's a bad comment.
Right, it's not, but I'm saying. It's not like
Yeah,
the best way to have
sure.
it. It didn't all hit to the
Would
next
you like to
part.
check it out? Joshua, I could lend you my phone.
Do you want to read it? Oh, but
You.
Okay.
Do you want to read the statement from Olive?
Or I can forward it to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great, well, that brings us to usually the end of the general membership meeting. If you'd like to have comments, questions or anything.
Yes, if you want to know.
Oh, and, yeah, then please let us defer to an elected official.
Oh,
That's you, Michael.
no, there were just a couple of them.
Please, yes, please,
And
identify.
lots of people might be interested. On Wednesday morning, if you'd like to be at the PCC Southeast campus, you can join students in a walkout, students, faculty, and staff, relating to school shootings and their belief in the need for gun control. PCC Southeast campus is at 92nd and 82nd and Division. I think most of you know where that is. The walkout is at 10 o'clock sharp, and we'll go for 17 minutes, so it doesn't have to take a long time. Second, on Friday, in the evening, from 6 to 9 p.m., there's a Stand with Refugees and Immigrants event. Technically, it might just be barely outside of our boundaries. It will be located at 740 Southeast 106th Avenue. And we will have food carts, if you'd like to make an evening of it. 740 Southeast 106th Avenue. Food carts, and there'll be dancing and some entertainment. And that's a way of showing physical support for the challenges now being faced by immigrants and refugees. And the only other thing that comes to my mind is there is a march relating to, again, the issue of gun control and the shootings in the schools. And that will be downtown. It's not exactly our neighborhood, but I intend to be going. From 10 to 2 on Saturday the 24th, 10 to 2, March for Our Lives is the theme of the march. Starts at Terry Trunk Plaza at 10 and goes to Pioneer Courthouse Square by 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Lots of stuff happening, folks.
Thank you very much, Michael. And does anyone else have any comments, questions? Great, well, thank you everyone for coming. If you'd like to talk with Jonathan about Lumio, he'd love to talk to you about it. And we're just going to take a quick break while everybody's leaving, and then we'll reconvene the board meeting. And anyone is welcome to stay for that if they'd like. Okay, everyone, we're just going to get back going with the board meeting. Feel free to move closer if you'd like or not. There's not tends to be too much public comment opportunities during the board meetings because the board just kind of deliberates and votes on things, but sometimes we do, so feel free, if it's offered, feel free to comment or question. I will just open it up. What time is it? Time count, 7:52. Taking board meeting notes. Okay. 7:52. I would like to move to approve the agenda. Okay. Any discussion? Approving the agenda. Any additions to the agenda? No? Amanda, did you have an agenda addition?
I will never remember what that thing was that I meant to add to the agenda.
Cool. All right, then it's been moved and seconded. No more discussion. All in favor? All right, it's unanimous. Past meeting minutes, which ones do we have before us?
So Antigonus had to leave, but he dropped off 2 of the minutes that he has taken. There's one other one that he has. There was some issue with bringing it. So those are the February 12th that we have today and the February 18th. And there should be copies for everyone right there, both of them. They're separated so you can see them both. And Amanda, you're right there.
I'm unaware. I know you guys want to study this in detail.
And I'll hold this for after we approve this, but if we could also reimburse Antigonus, he sent a receipt to the email or to the entire board for the copies that needed to be made. But,
okay, can you bring that up in new business?
Oh.
Great, thank you. All right, February 12th. Find anything in here to scrutinize. I move to approve the February 12th, 2018 minutes. Any changes, comments?
Yeah, on page 2, my name is misspelled. We just RHOADS.
Gotcha.
On page 1, after the break about the Boys and Girls Aid, the next paragraph just says there is an online petition insert link, we should probably insert the real link or just remove that sentence.
How about we just amend it to take out the insert link?
Yep.
Just say there's an online petition. Okay, so that's 2 changes so far. Any others? Okay, all in favor? All opposed? It's unanimous. Meeting minutes for February 18th, 2018. I have no changes. I move we approve the February 18th, 2018 meeting minutes. 1 second. Any discussion, any changes? You get it, do you have
I'm just, I'm fine.
You're fine? Okay, all in favor? All right, it's unanimous. Okay, that's all the board meeting minutes we have at the moment, correct?
I had sent out some, it was for the meeting at the restaurant that Jonathan took, and I had sent some comments back to you about changes. And then you weren't here, so I forwarded it to the whole board, but since I had just emailed it, we didn't have time to look at them. But I'm sure you've all printed it out, read it, made notes since that month. And
So you're talking February 1?
It would have been, I should have emailed it on February 12th, but I'm not seeing it in my sent, because I think I emailed it at the board meeting. Or maybe I just sent it. Yeah, so do we need to wait on that again?
Unless I can bring it up. I'm not. Bring it up quickly. Would you like to move on?
Hold on 1 second, let me do one more search.
Oh, I don't have my hammer.
There it is. Yeah, I sent it February 12th at 6:28. It's the 2-1 meeting.
Okay, I'm sorry, where is it?
I sent it February 12th at like 6, what did I just say? I already opened them up. 6:08 or something. They were basically what Jonathan had sent around, but I made a couple of changes to the land use stuff. Does anyone want to look at them?
Yeah, if you could pass them around while I'm looking for my copy really quick, we could get to that.
Thanks, it would be nice to wrap all these extra meetings up.
While we're reading that, would you like to just announce the board vacancies and the...
Sure. We've got a couple of officer vacancies. We're looking for a new secretary. Briar Rose is interested in focusing on other things, and Johnny is has left the board as of today, and would like the committee to have a new treasurer in his place. So we have those 2 officer positions, and we also have 2 board vacancies as of today as well. It would be great to get some people, and Briar Rose is doing the secretarial work, or maybe sharing, until we can find a replacement, but we really do need to do that. So she can focus on the things that you want to focus on. So,
Okay. So, if people in the community would like to volunteer, we'd love to have a few more board members. Just the minutes.
and I don't think we would vote on that tonight.
No, I don't think so, unless we have any takers.
I would like,
I think I would read this already.
see, I thought that you had.
Okay, great, so, great, we covered that, and it looks like everybody has now read the meeting minutes for 2-1. I'll move to approve them.
Second.
Any discussion, all in favor? Okay, great. 3 minutes,
I have my
up
phone
and down. Thank you, everybody.
That's not my phone.
And please, yeah, I continue to ask the board members, please look around, speak around to the community. We are looking for a diversity of opinion, diversity of geographic location. I think we might benefit from a board member from the southeastern quadrant. I think is a little underrepresented. So, things to keep in mind.
Can I also just add really quick, if anyone's interested in the secretary position but feels turned away because of the technology part of it, I would be happy to help with the technology part if you'd like. Just don't let that stop you.
Great. Thank you very much. Okay, that's covered. Now,
Do any of the current board members want to volunteer as treasurer or secretary?
I wanted to ask what was up with the treasurer, but did you second or did you motion that last thing?
I seconded.
Okay. Motion first.
On the one hand, I might be a logical choice. I'm already a treasurer for another board. But I kind of feel a little spread out right now. I want to be available to be as reliable as possible. But I certainly, I guess, undertake it if it was, if that was necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah, and somebody, I mean, if you could just maybe, I guess, send me some information on what is entailed. I'll take a look at it.
Great. Can we maybe add you as the interim treasurer for the moment, with the prospect of looking for someone
Sure.
more interested?
Yeah.
Great. I'd like to move that. Make Brad the treasurer.
I second.
Okay.
Interim treasurer.
Interim treasurer.
Interim.
Any discussion? No? All right, all in favor? Excellent.
And I think if Brad's willing to help kind of coach somebody on what is involved, that might make somebody else more confident about stepping forward.
Excellent.
Additionally, in the interim, I don't mind trying to help with technology also if Briar isn't available. Like if it's just, I can't get it in the account thing, I can probably help.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, that reminds me, I had Johnny on my probably got my
No,
Oh, you got it, great, excellent.
Great. So we're on to discussions or potential motions of support. The Monville Neighborhood Association's spring cleanup event. Claire, do you have a motion for that, or?
So there isn't a particular one.
Oh wait, I guess we already approved it, but was there any budget or any items that it needs?
So not at this point, but just as to everyone, we'll be scheduling a meeting in this next week. So if you are interested, there'll be the first meeting. There'll be further to follow up on. So if you're interested in volunteering for the garbage cleanup or being a part of it anyway, let me know. But everyone, all the membership should be getting an email about that in the next week. And then
Excellent. Monteville Homeless Forum. Do you have something from Olivia?
I do. There's a confirmed venue, you're correct about that. It is Irco. Let me pull this up, just read it verbatim. But the confirmation there was a time limit, I believe.
It's at the Irco Center.
Yes, so here's a rough proposal. End up not having a time, blah, blah, blah. I floated this idea for a houseless and housing forum, ideally for April 8th. IRCO has confirmed that they have space available with the exception of a time limit. While this is outside the Monteville boundaries, technically it is one of the most appropriate locations given the likely size of this meeting. The date was conceived prior to the lawsuit and grievance process, and unfortunately, Olivia's saying they don't have limited hours to commit, so follow-up has been difficult. I believe pushing the date back to the end of April would make a lot of sense, and the board can decide a more appropriate date, ideally Sunday for attendance purposes, which has been said to be the most accessible date many times. Okay, fair. Regardless, I believe that with a participatory team of neighbors, we can outline a strategy for an event, call on the right local institutions and organizations for a panel discussion, and host a communicative forum that resources our efforts and informs our neighborhood. Over the last few months, I've been networking with a number of folks via Southeast Uplift who work in either in-city bureaus or grassroots organizations. They expressed a great deal of interest in being on a panel to resource us with strategies and visioning. We also have access to any technical equipment and facilitation via Southeast Uplift to make logistics possible. Very cool. I propose that we create a subcommittee to handle this forum with public meetings on Sunday afternoons to plan the logistics. I also like to emphasize to anyone joining the subcommittee to be committed to creating a space that is driven to find solutions and explore areas of research and experience. Sorry, that was a weird sentence. Above all, I would like this forum to be driven by participatory standards, inclusivity, and even creativity. After all, utopia is just fantasy until someone actually picks up the hammer. I'll just say they're comfortable with all amendments, and specifically about location and date, and thanks to you for helping me before. I've really done a whole lot. So effectively, this is a proposal to move the date further back in April and create a subcommittee that will meet every Sunday to plan out the logistics until that date's confirmed. I'm imagining that's what I was asking.
Okay. Well, I think this is kind of like one of the main projects I wanted the outreach committee to really take on right away.
Okay.
I would like it to be in an outreach committee. Do we think we need a subcommittee to make sure that that's
I think
front and center priority?
I think so, because it's like a focus group within a group, basically, to help out, plan a certain event. I mean, they can work together, but, like, how many other things would the outreach committee have?
About as much as when anybody shows up.
Are we in the discussion portion?
Yeah.
The one thing that I'm a little concerned about moving it to the end of April, especially if the outreach committee is taking it on, then that would mean that the outreach committee is probably going to be doing outreach both for the garbage cleanup and for this event both at the same time, because in past years, the garbage cleanup in Monteville has happened in May, and we want to have it probably sometime this spring, so that seems like it's going to be right in that same window.
Okay. Now, a subcommittee, is it a committee or a subcommittee? Doesn't matter.
It would be an ad hoc committee.
An ad hoc committee?
Yeah.
Okay, and with Olivia as chair?
I think that's what that request would be.
Okay. Then that's been requested. I'll move we create a houseless forum subcommittee. I'll call it a subcommittee of the outreach committee, but it's its own, with Olivia as the chair, and I will volunteer for the vice chair, I guess.
Committee in your committee.
That's right. Is it?
Is this an
Do you think that
alliance
would
with any
bother?
other
Or should we
neighborhoods,
just call it
or
the
is
home
this
committee? 'Cause
kind of our own baby?
Well, this is something a lot of people actually asked for since the election. That was one of the.
But I mean, are we,
I think it's just ours.
just ours? Okay.
Oh, yeah, people wanted to get in on it, but I don't think anybody else wanted to do it.
Yeah, and we still have a small list of people who signed up last, I believe, like August, after the last big, huge, like, standing room only meeting of people who wanted to get involved with that too, so I can forward that on.
I think it's good. And then you can pull resources from, which committee you have needed, just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? Did you have moved and seconded?
I guess I would like to, it's great that Olivia, or Oliver just went to this conference about participatory democracy. I would really love to see neighbors talking openly about these issues that have been very stressful and contentious for a lot of us. And it would be great to have some strong ground rules going in about respect and about hearing people out, even if they disagree with you. And I just feel like these are the kinds of conversations that can move us forward as a community and can try to get past this blockade of kind of being really entrenched in our position and trying to come up with new solutions. Or solutions that we can find some common ground on, I guess. So I would love for that to be, for it not just to be talking and panels, but like actually have people working together to try to create something or working to find common ground. So.
Can I tag on that?
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, well, it's sort of like the homeless team has been an ancillary, issue. I mean, part of how the problems began, what with the resolution and all that. But, I hear people talk about why there's homelessness, and, I might not agree with that. Or, I might say, well, I don't agree with that, but here's what, I think. I'm not inclined to, I'm kind of seconding what Amanda said. You know, I probably wouldn't want to show up if I was going to get shouted down. And which is, you know,
Right.
it's
Well, so
kind
it
of
sounds
the.
like we need a strong facilitator. And
Yeah.
Maybe somebody might want to look into a professional facilitator.
Yes,
Or-
Kelly?
I have a few connections that I will follow up with email that do this, that are actually working on mental projects of this nature that are
Excellent.
on those conversations, but are actually, their main point is to actually have those individuals there at the table as well.
That's great, Kelly, thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? I will move to approve the committee with Bob as the chair and a volunteer for the vice chair.
All right, awesome.
Second?
Amanda seconds, any other discussion? All in favor? All right, unanimous?
Do we need to determine a date right now, or just have the committee do that?
No, I think let's the committee do that.
Good. I would love if it were in Montvilla.
I pitched that and I've tried to coordinate with Olive about getting PCC, like their public hall.
Uh-huh.
So we'll still work with that.
We
But
need
if
places with tables.
She has Erco squared away, I didn't want to
Sure.
screw that up.
They committed, but there's a time limit, is basically what we're at.
Yeah, if we could find something that is better suited, and, you know, there's be more time for discussion and opportunity there, you know, so something out, but for now.
Okay. Although there is the consideration, we don't want to interrupt too much with the cleanup in May.
I think if there's different groups heading it up, then it should have some separation and there's opportunities for everyone to get involved with either one they want, but it's not just the same couple people doing both, which is what my concern was.
Well, one thing I will say is I want to log. There's already a thing, let's try to get people to log as many things they want to hear about as possible. Like, if we address the things that are most popular, like that will probably be the best, like, panel we can put together to you. I mean,
Great, maybe something from the Lumio can inform an email survey,
Yes.
even a more formal request to our members saying, please give, this is an actual formal request for the forum.
Yep.
Please send us your personal comments and what you would like to see.
yes, exactly. It's already set up, they just got to plug into it. If we get over 1,000 people, that would be excellent.
Okay?
That building would hold 1,000 people?
Oh, I mean to say in the survey.
Oh, and so.
Yeah, like we're 16K total in the neighborhood, was like probably 10K adults, average, like 8 to 10. Something like that, so 1,000 people would be pretty good. 10%-ish.
All right. Good.
Yeah.
All right. Briar, it's my understanding you don't want to move the motion forward. There's another proposal on the table.
Unless someone else had one, I didn't hear anything from them.
Okay. I certainly like the idea of screening the movies you were talking about, the block parties. So if there is something formal that we could do, I'd love to see a proposal.
Also, if people aren't aware, in the neighborhood, recently, who does the permits for the block parties?
Oh, right, yeah.
Peabot.
Peabot made it free. They waived the cost for the permits now for block parties, so.
Nice.
Yeah, all you gotta do is apply for one.
I'm down for a block party, as long as it's curious.
You gotta get with the technology.
Yeah, so, it just happened, last week, so, yeah.
Great, while we're discussing that, can I just bring something up? I just wanted to say that one of the things that I've been interested in block parties that I think might be great for some of our neighbors, if there's a way we can look into it, if we can get some sort of insurance deal for different people who wanted like different types of block parties throughout the neighborhood, because as it is, people would have to buy the insurance if they wanted that for their block parties for, a day, it should cost $200. But there might be options where maybe that's something that MNA could help with if individuals in the neighborhood wanted to in the future.
Absolutely. I would love for us to start planning them sooner than better. And I don't care about the rain, and I have pavilions and tarps. So the weather doesn't bother me about block parties. I'll have a block party in the rain.
We're already assured. I believe we're already assured.
Well, that might,
Or
but,
we need to sponsor.
yeah, how that would work would be the
Right.
question.
We should double check. I feel like Peabot's addressed this issue, but maybe I'm wrong. I know, maybe not, because I remember Parks requires you to have, I don't know. So, yeah, that's,
So check the Peabot requirement.
yeah.
because I think that would be very helpful to a lot of neighbors for all sorts of different.
Cool, absolutely. We would love to publicize them and network with them and get more neighbors there if they'd like it that way. Great. Amanda? Shush you. That's your first warning.
Yeah.
Yeah, proposal to join Portland Metro Arts.
I do. So Portland Metro Arts, we've had a few recent meetings there. They are a multi-use facility. They host a lot of classes and art-focused classes, and they have theaters. And they have a number of resident tenants. Currently, when we have had meetings there, we have to pay for the room, which the room rates are very affordable. We've also had to pay a fairly nominal fee, but a fee for staffing to be there while we're there. You know, they have to let us in and all this stuff. So we've been talking a lot about meeting space and how challenging it is to find, and being a resident tenant of Portland Metro Arts would allow us to have our own key. We'd obviously need to still schedule our meetings, but we could have kind of a regular, you know, we could set up regular times and have kind of the surety of being able to tell people way in advance where we're gonna go. They've got, if you were at the last land use meeting, which was then the emergency board meeting, it's like an arts and crafts room, but it's like $15 an hour, super cheap. Some of the bigger spaces are 20, 25, 30. So depending on what we're doing, we can accommodate a number of folks there, and this would let us save some money on the staffing issue.
Where's the location?
It's 90, what is it? 90 as in Stark.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
So the discounted rates, not,
It is discounted rates, yeah.
and a membership fee.
And how much would that be?
This place free?
We would not move this meeting. Our challenge has been trying to come up with all these committee spaces and different things and extra meetings. We get this space free once a month. And then if we want to have committee meetings here, we do pay for the smaller rooms or pay a fair amount for this one. And then we'd be kind of cleaning up for ourselves and all that kind of stuff. And there's no fee to join. But it's just kind of entering into a contract.
So this would be, there's no fee?
Join.
There's no fee to join, there's fees for the rooms.
Oh.
It's just like cheap, like $15 an hour. You know, it's cheap.
Oh.
Which is really good. It seems nice in the neighborhood.
Right.
Yeah, is there any drawbacks? Because I'm ready to vote on it.
We can vote, and I can figure out the details. There might be just a standard $20 an hour rate, and so it might depend, or it might vary like it does right now for us, so we can figure it out.
What's the term, or the length of time of the contract?
It's kind of just an ongoing thing. We can, 30 days written notice is required for the renter to terminate the contract.
I guess I'm more curious about termination on the other side. I'm just curious, like, if we lock that rate in, is that effectively what this is doing, and for how long?
Oh, I don't know. They don't really raise, I don't know how often they raise their rates. You know, they've got this great space. They're trying to rent it out to more folks. I don't know that this would lock in a rate if they determined that they needed more.
That's great.
So, do I make a motion or does someone else? I'm bringing the proposal.
I propose we join the Portland Metro Arts resident tenant thing.
Yes.
I second. Any other discussion? No? Okay. All in favor?
You probably have stayed.
I'm assuming this is going to save
That's
us money,
yeah,
right?
that's people's kind of style preferences.
Yes.
Whether you abstain or
Right.
not.
It doesn't benefit me other than now I have a meeting space.
Yeah, it's like Robert's rules, if you bring it, you have to think about it later.
That's sometimes why I don't move motions. I'm trying to facilitate. Okay, great. 82nd Avenue of Roses Parade. Anybody got the details? Did Michael pass along those details that he said he did?
No.
You looked already? Was that me? That you he was saying that to? Or was that you, Amanda?
It wasn't me, I don't think it was me. So in the past, or I think the board has marched in the parade under a banner. I don't really know.
We do have a banner.
Do we?
We do.
So I usually, the parade ends on my block, so I always host a brunch party. So that's where I'm gonna need to be. So I'm not necessarily making any motion.
Well, I'd like to be in the parade or at least organize something along those lines. Does anyone have any ideas how much the entry cost might be?
Will there be a parade this year? And not a,
Yeah, they said there was gonna be.
okay.
I don't think they'll cancel again.
They're not planning on the ride, they're
Right.
planning.
Yeah, not the right. Okay.
So I was down at Lovely Tire, which is where I'm getting my tires fixed now. I was talking to, I don't think the owner, but the guy, kind of the service manager. And he said that the parade was canceled because a group of young Republicans was going to be in it.
We do not need
Well,
to.
It's a long story.
Last year's
Okay.
cancellation.
It's not,
So
Unless,
it's kind of.
do you think unless you think it's pertinent to this year's?
they're not canceling this year.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm hoping,
They will not cancel.
I'm
my
hoping we're
parade.
just gonna be optimistic and hope horrible things don't happen in our community again.
Yeah, I was gonna suggest perhaps we could talk about a motion that would support the parade, talk about how it's a positive thing for our community and, commit to being involved in some way, and maybe we can spell that out, and then also helping with outreach through our various outreach mechanisms for the parade as well.
Great. Yeah, I'd like to get, can we get a small budget approval if there is an entry fee, so that we don't have to call an emergency meeting when we find out that the deadline is March 18th. So say if the entry to march in the parade and we have more than 4 volunteers and it's under, say, 150, 200, just for the entry fee, not like a overall just authorization to spend, but just for the entry fee.
Or do you say up to?
Yeah, up to, just for the entry fee, I'm not saying, to spend the money.
Preliminary budget approval.
So let's make it 200 since it's just for the entry fee and I don't want it to be 151.
So up to 200 for only the entry.
Only for the entry fee and the 82nd Avenue Parade. If I can get other people to commit with me.
It'd be a great opportunity to just invite new neighbors to join.
Absolutely.
Or I'll just wear the banner as a cape and Superman it down 82nd.
Have like a marketing party beforehand with white t-shirts or whatever.
That's great. And another thought I would hope people are thinking of is fundraising opportunities, not just around this event, but others. We need to be thinking in general of those kind of things.
And
whether
I don't
it's
think I spelled it out earlier, but the garbage cleanup is a fundraiser.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, excellent. But yeah, so I move that, is there a second?
What is the motion?
The motion is to authorize up to $200 just for the 82nd Avenue entry fee, if we have enough support for the parade.
That means participants, right? People who
Well,
want.
for the Montville Neighborhood Association.
So that we.
And yeah, that's if we can get as many members as possible. All right, so we have a second. Any other discussion?
Can we have read back just the full text of what we're,
Yeah.
since it was kind of videos when I read it.
No, that's fair, I'm not taking everything down. Like word for word. They would, 82nd Avenue Parade, they would like to be in the parade or organize along those lines. How much is the entry? Outreach potential is good. Briar recent participation is a good idea. Preliminary budget approval for up to $200.
So it's just a preliminary. Okay.
Right, I mean, this would be like, we don't know what the fee is actually yet.
Cannot find the
I-
state.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure if you were including in the stuff that I said as well, so just about putting out a statement in support of the parade and talking why it's a good thing and committing to do outreach through
It's
our
on
mechanisms.
April 28th.
April 28th.
But I don't know if that needs to be tied to the same thing, but I wasn't sure if that was together or not, I guess that was my
Do you think,
question.
would it make any difference if we separate them, or is it?
Either way, I was just curious what we
No,
do.
I don't think it matters if we do it, so if you could amend the motion
Yeah.
to include
the general overall support as priors. I love the bureaucracy. Okay, so as amended,
Yeah.
it's been removed. You re-second it, John? Yeah. Okay, any other discussion or amendments? None? All in favor? Yes, unanimous. All right, new business. I believe we had something in a reimbursement for Antigonus. How much we
Yeah,
got?
do you have a copy of the email, Amanda, that Antigonus sent? Just like,
I don't think I've got it.
he sent it just like right when we were on break. That's the receipt from FedEx.
Okay, if you want to look for that really quick, John, you got something?
Yeah, recently I've been looking into getting syringe, like disposal bins for the neighborhood, and put them in places, certain places around the neighborhood.
Did you already talk to the city?
Yeah, I didn't talk to the city, but they're kind of slow getting back.
Fair, we were just, last year they were waiting to have us confirm an area for 2 locations. We never got back to this time.
Yeah, so, like,
Just making sure.
yeah. So the receptacles that they have for storage bins, they look like those trash compactors that they have downtown, those solar ones. You've seen them, you open them up and they kind of like close. Those are really expensive, they're $1,000. So we're not gonna get any of those anytime soon. So as a short-term solution, I know that Metro has $5 little bins that you can get, and they'll dispose of them up to a certain gallon amount for like $35 or something like that. So I probably will like have a fundraiser sometime soon to raise money for those. I was looking for maybe at least 20 of those. From Metro's standpoint, they said that you can just go ahead and do that, but they said talk to the city and see what they say first. So I'm just going to look more into it, just letting you guys know that's going to go ahead.
So Sarah Fee Allen in the mayor's office, they are going to do a big push on needle collection boxes that they want to put in neighborhoods or firehouses or different places. So you might want to just call her.
Okay.
Sarah Fee Allen in the mayor's office.
SARAH?
SERAPHI.
The Sunnyside Elementary / park, within, I feel like the last month has like these on their fences, these syringe disposal boxes. I believe they're by Multnomah County. Last year, Multnomah County, I can find a woman, was very interested in working with this neighborhood to find additional places to have like permanent fixed drop off, like disposal things.
Great.
No, not like that. They're like these like locked.
Only in, not out?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Except we get
I do as well. I mean, I just want to get reimbursed for living it. But on this topic, is there any precedent, just having them here? Safer Spaces has been in communication with us for the panel, but is there any precedent for just having actual safe injection sites in Oregon? I haven't necessarily seen anything, but I know San Francisco did that last year with good results. Because I feel like that's kind of the root of the issue, is getting them on the ground, just disposed at the source, right?
talk to like the mayor's office. probably
Yeah,
on that
I don't
one.
feel like a big link.
There's lots of
It
interest.
seems to happen anyway.
There's lots of interest
Oh,
right
yeah,
now by the
yeah.
county and the city and others. It's in the paper. And
Yeah.
so there's momentum around this, and this is the time to call if you have ideas or concerns.
Want to be part of the conversation about it. That's where I would think that it's at this point.
Okay, good. Cool, yeah, I just wanted to bring that up, so that's all.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, John.
I have an issue before reimbursements, or did you find?
No, I cannot find Antigonus's receipt, so you'll have to bring that up later, maybe.
So I remembered my agenda item that I wanted. So we talked last month about a bylaws ad hoc committee to review our bylaws, make sure they're in line with the city, make sure there's not any changes that we want to see to those, and I wanted to start having meetings, but I don't think we ever really voted on forming the committee. Is that something I can add in new business?
I thought we did.
I don't think we did. We talked about it in the membership meeting and that was it.
I think we just talked about having one happen, but we can actually decide on
Okay,
Is that something I can add at this point?
I have no problem with it.
Okay, so I'd like to move that we form an ad hoc bylaws review group committee. I would really love at least one other board member to be engaged with this. That would be great. And
I'll be participating in that.
yeah.
So, with yourself as chair?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't necessarily want to be chair, but I'm wanting to participate, so I can convene the meetings.
I'm definitely not doing it.
Okay.
I don't mind doing that one, but I'm also supposed to do park stuff, I haven't done yet.
Yeah. So anyway, I'll
I
take
think
it
there's
on,
definitely
because
interest.
I really want this to happen. I know that we got some great recommendations from the elections committee, and it seems like a good time to review the bylaws, so.
Okay. Can we just make sure we also, like, make an announcement, get a pitch?
Yeah.
Make sure the
Absolutely.
membership knows about it?
Absolutely.
Great. Then we have that motion. Any second?
I'll second.
Okay.
And the motion is to form the ad hoc
Bylaw review committee. Okay. I don't see
I
discussion.
volunteer to
It's been moved and seconded.
participate.
Great.
That's cool.
Sounds like you have general participation.
Great. Yeah, and I know that some of these things, there were some specific items that they felt were important to deal with before the next election cycle, so we can get some clarity on process. So that's why I'm pushing.
Great. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
I'll abstain.
One abstention. 5 in favor, none opposed, one abstention. Got that? Okay. Any other new business? Any other reimbursements, anything? We do?
Do you want to do yours?
Has the lawyer asked for email?
No, not at the moment. We're working on, working with Southeast Uplift and with the city of Portland.
Because I remember her distinctly saying that she had used up the retainer.
Yeah, she is putting the bill together. Just an update on that. So Southeast Uplift submitted a claim to our insurer on this matter, and the claim was accepted, and after an initial $2,500, which is their, what's it called, deductible, they are covering costs. As far as the $2,500 that we've spent, and we haven't gotten the full invoice from the attorney yet. She's working on that. But we are also looking into accessing funds that were approved by City Council back in 2006. Molly Mayo from Southeast Uplift and Olive need to coordinate, or have volunteered to coordinate on putting a proposal together for the city to use a little, whatever else we spend out. And if we're able to make a case for what we're providing that could be used by other neighborhood associations, kind of some products that we can share that can benefit other neighborhood associations, then hopefully we have a good shot at accessing those funds, which would be great, because then that would mean that we would basically be fully covered for this matter. And it won't take such a large chunk out of our budget.
Excellent. Okay, anything else?
So, since I'm talking already, the cost for the room rental on February 18th for our special meeting for the executive session was $52.50, which was the room plus the staffing. So I would like to be reimbursed for that. We had approved money to pay for committee meetings.
Yeah, 250.
Kind of up to a point, but this wasn't a committee meeting, and so I just paid for it myself because I didn't want to spend that money incorrectly.
Okay. I move we reimburse Amanda for the room rental at the special meeting.
Second? Author.
All right, any other discussion?
How much was that?
$52.50. And I've got
$52, right?
$52.50.
Okay. Any other discussion?
And I have a receipt.
All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
Okay, one abstention, rest approved. Any other reimbursements?
So I guess we would have to accept it as an asset of the MNA, but the Lumia setup is, the organizational discount is $5 a month for the service. Wasn't really much, I just paid it to pilot it and test it out. But if we wanted to make it an asset of the corporation, you'd have to transfer the bank card and get reimbursed for $5, but we don't have to do it this time, if we didn't want to agree to it at the moment.
We're still doing it as a pilot program though, right?
Yeah.
Well, let's budget for a certain amount of months, because no board member should have any asset in their name. We need to cut that off. That is absolutely unacceptable, and, no board members, if you don't get reimbursed, you either turn it over, or you delete it, or cancel it, or do whatever you need to do to eliminate the purchase. So, you should never be, no board member should be floating any asset of the MNA.
So I'll move to fund 4 months of a pilot.
Is that sufficient? Yeah. Okay, $20. Okay.
For Lumia.
Is that, any demand a motion for $20 to be approved for Lumio, reimbursing Jonathan, or reimbursing Jonathan $5 and paying forward $15, correct?
Correct.
Okay, that's been seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor? All right.
I have one little thing. Michael just told me, so if you came to a meeting last summer, you may have seen there was some kind of computer, or I can't really remember what it was, where people were signing in on MailChimp. Apparently that tablet or whatever is ours.
It's downstairs.
We have it.
Yeah.
And it's here at the church.
Yep.
Okay.
The issue is that they didn't give us the Wi-Fi password ever, so there was never a use for it.
Okay. We have that now.
Good.
Cool.
Great.
Good to know. And then MailChimp? Anyone know?
We would just have to get that account again. I believe that was probably in Benjamin's name or something, right?
If it was registered through a montebellopdx.org email address, then we can reset the password.
Okay.
I just didn't know about it.
We need to make sure anything with the Montville Neighborhood Association name is in our asset.
Yeah.
Is someone willing to volunteer to do that? To look into MailChimp?
I can do that.
Thank you so much.
Can you write a commitment for me to plug them in?
Yes.
All right, I'll stop talking now.
Okay, we have any other new business? I don't see any. Please no, please God no. All right. All right, then with all that, I will adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Yeah.
Adjourn the meeting.
All
Thank
in
you.
favor?
All in favor?